First off, I wanted to say thank you for the support that you all have been giving me and this podcast. I really appreciate what we're building here. If the show is helping you, join our Patreon page. The blueprint here will get you a full technical video library plus open mat audio, real breakdowns I record after class, a more analytical look for training than what we're doing here. Again, thank you for everything. Now let's get started. Welcome to Tapped In. My name is David Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be discussing what to do within that 5 to 15 minute mark after you get done training. This is probably the most valuable time outside of actual instruction and training and rolling and playing games that you're going to have. And many of us miss it. And by the time we try to correct or do some of the things that we should be doing within that time period, a lot of the details are missed. So I want you to start looking at ways to kind of reset your body and your emotional output, and kind of like your nervous system is generally most often a little high. It's wired because you've had this fight or flight mode or moment. Your heart rate is up. You're probably breathing hard. Your hormones are circulating. Like you just had this hard, tough workout. And depending on where you are, let's say you were anywhere from that white to blue, purple phase, and you were at a gym with a lot of high ranked people, you probably are dealing with that a little bit more than the black belt that may have had an easier time. Not saying that they don't have this either, but it's just they're more comfortable with that stressor. Allow yourself time to just kind of bring yourself back down. Start inhaling a bit heavier, deeper, I should say. Take in everything that's going on. Don't think about it too hard just yet, but try to calm yourself. Try to ease back into breathing normally and not being so amped up. We're going to be dealing with some details that we need to really get into, and we can't quite do that when we are breathing hard almost for our lives and we're just kind of wound up. This is one of the reasons why I don't train too much at night. By the time I get home, I'm still wound up. I'm still kind of, I don't want to say on edge, but my body is active. It's on. And by the time I get calmed down, showered, probably eat a snack, sometimes dinner, by the time that happens, it's 11:30, 11 o'clock, and it's time to go to bed, and I may or may not have to teach a 5 a.m. class the following morning. So it's super important in general. Bring yourself back down to some kind of base normal level. Because again, we got some things that we need to do. Take really deep breaths. Hold. Exhale. Find whatever makes you most calm. Some people, they go for a lighter roll, a cool down roll. Some people go to lift weights. Some people sit on the edge of the mat and just kind of think about some things. Some people get chatty. Whatever it is that brings you down rather quickly, great. I want you to document some things. When you're in the moment and you're in class, I don't see enough students taking notes. I understand it may come off as dorky. It may come off as a little weird. In my opinion, take the notes. I think that's one of the hidden elements of getting better at an art or anything for that matter that we're not taking advantage of enough. And again, I think it's because no one's doing it, so the other people don't feel like it's something they want to do or should do, or they don't want to be looked at as weird for doing. But it's really important that we do take notes. Some of us are great at taking notes in the moment. Some of us do a little bit better after the fact. Whichever you do, I highly suggest you take some kind of notes. I want you to, after your mind's calmed, I want you to take down 3 things that went really well, and then 3 things that did not go so well. And preferably, you can do that in a simple draft in your phone. You can do that in a dedicated journal, like the Practitioner's Journal is one of my favorites, but I think it's one of the best ones out there. And take, I wouldn't say copious notes, I wouldn't say a ton. I would say things that you can look back on and understand pretty easily. I've taken notes in the past where I've taken a lot and it's like, oh, this is too much. I've taken notes in the past where I've done not enough and I'm like, I don't even know what the position is really. I got the basic levels of what the position is, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Sometimes I take shitty notes, but take some notes and specifically maybe write down the biggest steps or the biggest key takeaways from the instruction. You can also do that for key takeaways of the position overall and then how you performed in roles or the games, whichever you guys are doing. Take away things that you did really well because it's healthy to kind of balance the things that we're doing well with the things that we're not doing so well. Sometimes we focus too much on the not well and then take some notes on the things that maybe you struggled with. Those are what you're going to formulate your questions on. Another thing, in my opinion, I don't think enough of us ask questions. I have a Q&A at the end of every class I teach. And I generally get a couple of questions here and there. And it's good that I'm getting the questions. I'm happy when I get questions. But sometimes some people who should be asking questions aren't. And I don't know if it's because they feel like they don't want to come off as dumb or ask that dumb question. But I'm telling you right now, every question that's asked in my Q&As are things that everyone else can take away with. And even the higher belts. Sometimes they get reminders. You got a 2-stripe white belt who asks a specific question about something and I go over it and I can tell, I didn't know that detail. Oh, and I can tell by the facial expressions. Sometimes even the higher belts are like, okay, that makes more sense. Because sometimes we think we know something and we don't really. We have an idea, but we don't know what we don't know, if that makes sense. So take away 3 things that we did really good and then 3 things that we didn't do so well. I like checking in with training partners. It's something that I was always trying to do or keen on. Sometimes these training sessions are difficult. Sometimes they're hard. Sometimes they're rough. Like you're training for a competition, you guys are going close to 100%, and sometimes you might knock somebody in the face with an elbow or a knee. Check in with them. Check in. Hey, I know I may have elbowed you. My apologies. You may have said sorry in the moment, but checking in with them afterwards is a big plus because again, they're coming down off of that adrenaline dump or that adrenaline spike and they may not feel great. They might feel like, oh, now that everything's calming down, that the blow was harsher or harder than they noticed at the time. Couple things to consider. One, you're checking in, and that extra check-in goes a long way to building a little bit more culture. And then 2, they may have, now that things are calm, had some resentment for the fact that you were elbowed. Maybe you try to train regularly and you guys are always training hard and it happens quite often between the 2 of you. Sometimes styles and approaches do that. Kind of like in boxing, how you have the southpaw versus traditional, and sometimes the blows just happen a certain way because of the stances that they're in. Something like that happens in jiu-jitsu sometimes. You got 2 bulls that are going head to head and both like to be in a specific position and both like to be aggressive. You're going to have a few more accidents. And sometimes when those accidents pile up, one of you can feel like, oh, this is an unsafe training partner, or this is a person that doesn't really like me, or they may conjure up a bunch of different stories in their head. So going in and checking on your partner, hey, tough round, I loved it. Sorry, I dinged you. It wasn't my intent. You okay? And then having a conversation, and not even specifically about that, but maybe just a training. Man, you really had me when you started flattening me out when you went to knee cut pass, or you almost got me with that bow and arrow choke. And then you guys are going back and forth and you're building that camaraderie. And now they feel like, oh, there's a relationship here, that even though there were a couple of missed or mistakes happening, it doesn't feel like something was intentional because the person's actually coming around you and showing that they care. Training's difficult. Training's hard. We sometimes get in our heads. We sometimes start conjuring up stories of things that may or may not be happening. And those relationships in that moment after training goes a long way because it can squash some of that. Sometimes you're going to have training partners that are just down on themselves. It has nothing to do with you. They're just down on themselves because they got again, or they didn't get off the submission or the sweep that they were trying to work with. And you coming over and checking in and just having a casual conversation about what happened. Maybe even giving some feedback. Hey, you almost had me, but you didn't have your foot in the right spot. Oh, what do you mean? And you guys go over it again. Or I'm the recipient of I'm the person that tried the sweep and failed. And I come to that person and be like, hey, I'm working on a sweep. You always have a way of negating the angle I'm trying to create or the off balancing that I'm trying to create. What are you doing differently than everybody else? And then that relationship grows because you're having that conversation with that person. You're exchanging ideas. Let that happen. Be intentional about it. It's a really good thing. It builds up relationships. It builds the unit camaraderie for the academy. It allows people to understand that we're not at odds. We just happen to be training partners and we have to be quote unquote opponents for that moment. But we're not opponents once the match ends. We're not opponents anywhere else. I like to check in with instructors, at least when I had the opportunity. Hey, I'm struggling with this. Hey, what do you think I should be doing? Were you watching at all? And while I don't want to do that all the time, occasionally it's a good thing. You get to check in with them because they may have been watching the entire class and they may have watched your match specifically a bit, maybe even more, just on the off chance. Getting their feedback in the moment goes a long way because they remember the details a bit clearer. If you wait till the following day, I'm not going to remember shit. If you wait a couple of hours later, I may not remember shit. So if you notice that your instructor was sitting in front of you and they were watching, or maybe they were coaching you through something or coaching the other person through something, that's a great time to ask those questions because they're fresh. You don't want to do that all the time. You don't want to take up all their time. But an occasional moment like, hey, what do you think? What did you see here? What was I doing that was off? What was I doing that was good? What could I have done different? And because it's fresh, just within a few minutes, you can get some really solid feedback on you or what you should have done. Or in a lot of cases, what you're doing correctly. Sometimes you're not doing anything. You don't need to do anything differently. It's just you need more time and more seasoning in the position that you're in to catch that timing. The other thing that I want to focus on is check yourself. Check yourself for any skin stuff. Check yourself for bruising. Check yourself for any injuries. Sometimes we don't notice something until we hit the shower and the stuff is stinging, or you changed and maybe you didn't pay attention to yourself when you were changing. You get home and you're like, I don't know where I got this bruise from. Like, just check yourself over. Do a quick inventory. Am I good? Do I have any abrasions? Do I have any scratches? Do I have any sore spots? Have I maybe I was longer? Maybe I was in that arm bar longer than I should have. Is my arm okay? Check yourself. And really nothing that most people do, to be honest with you. I think it's something we should be a little bit better about. But it's a good thing. If there's anything else, then maybe I have missed that you do, I would love to hear it. I think this is one of those things that, like, that 5 to 15 minute mark right after class is gold. And we need to maximize that a little bit more. Whether it's asking questions, whether it's writing things down or recollecting like key details and what was I doing wrong, that time period is gold. And once it leaves and you are at a point where you're 3 hours later, or you went to bed and you woke up the next morning, or you're in the shower, it's not going to play out the same way in your head. You may have the overall structure, but the key details are hard to remember. It just is. So if this is something that can help, please, I would highly suggest doing some of these for you. If you like stuff like this, I would also suggest you sign up for the Blueprint on Patreon. We get into these topics a bit more. They're a bit more personal because I'm taking questions from subscribers, which goes a long way. It's a little bit more intimate. If you liked the episode, please like, subscribe, rate, share. Goes long way with us, and it really does help out the show. Until next time, thank you so much.